So, are you interested in finding a job in horticulture because you like to work with plants and you are wondering what is it like to work in a greenhouse? There are many different type of positions when it comes to work in a greenhouse. However, today I will share with you my day-to-day basic when I was working in a greenhouse as an assistant grower. Before we go further, I want you to understand that each greenhouse, nursery, or farm grows very differently. Each has their own setup that fit their specific crops. Because of this, my experience will be different from others who work in different places. But I hope that by sharing my experience, you can have the answer for some questions that you might have in mind. What is working in a greenhouse as an assistant grower like? Working hours. Okay, let's talk about working hours. Horticultural working hours usually start earlier than 9 to 5 normal job. The standard work hours at my workplace start at 7:30 a.m. and off at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Assistant grower is a full-time position, 40 hours a week from Monday to Friday. Assistant growers are also required to work some weekends because plants need water and attention every day. Now, the reason why we start working early, for us, it is to catch the sun. As you know, the most important part of working with plants is watering. The earlier we can start watering plants is better. This is to allow water to dry out during the day. Water plant late in the afternoon means plants will be wet over the night, and this creates a perfect condition for diseases, fungus, and bacteria to develop. So, how we start the day? Starting the day, I usually will check overall of the greenhouse first to make sure nothing down, everything's still functioning as it's supposed to, such as temperature, light, vents open, and then I will do a quick check for plants, making sure plants still alive, nothing need water right away. And after all that, I will start checking plants closely and how much water should I give it to them. So to check on the water, depend on the crops and the method of growing plants. Each company will use different method for checking water. For example, to check dryness, some will use squeezing method by using fingers and push the substrate down. How much water coming out from substrate will determine which level of dryness is and assign the amount of water needed for irrigation. Others could use the weight loss method by weighing the whole container with plants to determine the minimum weight and how much water we'll need to apply. In my greenhouse, we use the weight loss method. We'll base on the weight to determine how many booms that will be applied to the groups. So after checking the plant very thoroughly, then water has been given to the plants, assistant grower will keep checking plants throughout the day to make sure plants are not dry or wilting. To avoid giving water in the afternoon, throughout the day, we will try as much as possible to catch the dryness of the plants. If anything needs water to carry to the next day, we'll try to give water as soon as possible. And again, avoid water in late afternoon. Checking plants watering is the biggest role of an assistant grower. However, it's not the only task. Other tasks to keep plants healthy are also very important when growing plants. Besides water management, we need to keep plants healthy and disease-free. Other tasks such as IPM, scouting, sanitizing, observing and reporting any potential problems, etc., also play very important roles in plant care. IPM included many activities that require to keep plants healthy. And an important part of this is spraying. When people thinking about working in a greenhouse or working with plants in general, not many knows about the spraying part. It is hard work. You'll be burned up in coverall suits to protect yourself from chemical exposure while spraying. We all love plants, but we are afraid of pesticides, fungicide, or bactericide. However, they all come as in a package. At least in my greenhouse, as an assistant grower, you are required to be able to spray pesticide. So that is another thing that you need to consider if you apply for an assistant grower job. Now, end of the day, after everything is taken care of, we will check all the machine, the equipment to make sure what needs to be off will be off and what needs to be running will be running. Because after leaving, nothing supposed to run by itself unintentionally. In summary, the main part of working with plant is plant watering. Basically, you will check plant watering from start the day, throughout the day, and until end of the day. And other tasks will need to be done throughout the day, maybe every day, maybe once a week, maybe a few times a week, depend on the task, such as sanitizing, keep greenhouse clean, scouting, detecting bugs, disease risk, making sure equipment is running correctly, and also be able to spray pesticide when required. The tasks I describe here may sound simple, but it is only the surface of working with plants. In later videos, I will share more details about each task, what is the pros and cons, and the challenges I faced as an assistant grower. Working with plants could be fun, peaceful, but could also turn out to be chaotic sometimes, especially when we detect diseases exist in the greenhouse. That is when we have to roll our sleeves up, quarantine, contain the disease, and making sure it don't spread throughout the crops. I hope you have learned some perspective of working as an assistant grower, and I will see you in the next video.